first experiment, we have to find the thermal conductivity of the given metal rod. In the sketch, we can observe this portion is the metal rod, whose one end is connected to the electrical heater and the other end is immersed in the water jacket. Our purpose is to find the thermal conductivity of this particular metal rod. On the one end, the electrical heater is provided in order to create the heat temperature gradient. Temperature gradient sets up the heat flow through the material, and that heat which is getting flown through the material has to be extracted with the help of the water jacket. So in order to extract the temperature at various sections of the metal rod, we have mounted 5 different thermocouples at different sections of the material. Those are named as T1, T2, T3, T4 and T5. And here we have two other temperatures, wherein T10 is the inlet temperature of the water and T11 is the outlet temperature of the water. These two temperatures helps us to get the heat which is absorbed by the water from the metal rod. And in order to have the heat flow in only one direction, we have insulated the material so that we can have the heat transfer in the axial direction only. So that is why the insulation is provided. Experimental setup in order to find the thermal conductivity of the metal rod. In order to start the experiment, you need to switch on the mains, which is over here. Please switch on this as soon as you come into the experiment. Now, please look onto the various knobs which are present over here. So this is the rheostat. This is the temperature controlling knob. Initially, what you have to do is you need to set the rheostat knob into the 80 volts. You need to set this into the 80 volts so that these two devices, one is the voltmeter and the other one is the ammeter. These two devices are going to show these two values to you, 0.75 volts as well as 0.39 ampere. Make sure upon setting 80 volts, these two devices are reading these two values. And then this knob has to be used in order to look onto the temperatures only. You should not disturb this knob at any cost at the initial stage itself. Now look onto this part. This is the actual metal rod. This is the one end of the metal rod and this is other end of the metal rod. One end of the metal rod is connected to the electrical heater and the other end is immersed in the water jacket. And metal rod is present over here. Metal rod is covered with the insulation. This insulation is nothing but the rock wool insulation. This insulation is provided in order to have the heat transfer in axial direction only. On various locations of the metal rod, we have mounted the thermocouples to extract the temperatures at that particular location. So these are the thermocouples to us. On the metal rod, we have 5 different thermocouples. That means we are finding the temperatures at 5 different locations. And then we have 2 more temperature that needs to be measured. One is the water inlet temperature to the jacket, that is through this pipeline, which is nothing but the blue color line pipeline, and the water which is going out from the water jacket is marked with the red color pipeline. So this is the water exit temperature and this is the water inlet temperature. We have notated this as T10 and this as T11. So totally 5 temperatures on the metal rod and 2 temperatures of the water needs to be measured. So this is what is the temperature measurement. In order to look into the temperature measurement, you need to look onto this particular knob. So now I am looking onto the various temperatures of the metal rod. So now I am at the first thermocouple. The first thermocouple is reading 109.8 degrees Celsius, and turn the knob. So this is the temperature at the second thermocouple, I mean at that particular location. This is the third location's temperature, 4th thermocouple's temperature, 5th thermocouple temperature. That means we have the temperatures of 5 different. The heat which is transferred by the metal rod to the water jacket, we need to find the mass flow rate of the water. So this is the valve which is nothing but the flow control valve. If I open this, I can have the mass flow rate of the valve. So now here I have a flask as well as the timer with me. So now what I have to do is I need to look for the mass flow rate of the water. Please immerse this inside this flask. So now it is the option. You need to look onto the particular amount of collection of water for the given amount of time. So now I am opening this valve in order to find the mass flow rate of the water which is happening through the metal rod. So now I am turning this valve. Simultaneously you need to switch on the time. So now for a given amount of time, please look onto the collection of the water, or for a given collection of water, please look onto the time and then close the valve. So now what is the amount of water which is collected in the flask, that is with you, or for given amount of water collection, what is the time taken, that is with you.
Here I have the tabular column with me, the values which I have recorded from the experiment. Look onto the values. Here I am going through the first trial, wherein these two values are set with the help of the rheostat. Very first value is nothing but the voltmeters reading, which is nothing but the 75 volts, and second value is nothing but ammeter reading, which is nothing but 0.39 amps. And I have noted down 5 different temperatures. These 5 different temperatures are notating the temperatures at various locations of the metal rod. So T1, T2, T3, T4, T5 in the axial direction of the metal rod, and T10 and T11 are the water temperatures, wherein T10 is the inlet temperature of the water and T11 is the outlet temperature of the water. This is the flow rate of water in terms of meter cube per minute. From the experiment it has been noted as 135 meter cube per minute. So totally 5 metal rod temperatures, 2 water temperature, and the flow rate of water 5 plus 2 7 plus 1 8. 8 different values are required from the experimental side. Okay, initially we need to find the heat input to the metal rod. Heat input to the metal rod is denoted by Q suffix I, which is nothing but product of voltage into current. So voltage and current has been already measured. We have these two values for voltage and current. So the multiplication of those two will give us the value 29.25 watts. Next thing is we need to go through the area which supports the conduction. Actually we are looking into the perpendicular area which supports the conduction over here. So area of heat conduction is nothing but pi d squared by 4. Since the cross section of the metal rod is circle, we have the formula pi d squared by 4, and the diameter of the rod is very well known to us. By substituting those things, we have the area of conduction as this much. Next thing is we need to find the water flow rate through the water jacket. So this water is going to absorb the heat from the metal rod. So mass flow rate of the water is given by this formula, wherein small v is nothing but the volumetric flow rate of the water that we have measured in terms of meter cube per minute. And with the help of this formula, we can convert the volumetric flow rate into mass flow rate, and this will be in terms of kg per second. So now we have the mass flow rate of water. Next thing is we can easily calculate heat carried away by the cooling water. Heat carried away by the cooling water is given by Q is equal to mCp delta T, where m is the mass flow rate of the water that we have calculated from the previous stage. Cp is the specific heat of the water, and delta T is nothing but the temperature difference of the water that we have already measured. So I have substituted the value, mass flow rate, and Cp of water as well as the temperature difference of the water. That is going to yield me the value of heat which is absorbed by the cooling water with heat which is absorbed by the water. In the next stage we need to find the temperature gradient. So in order to find the temperature gradient, we need to plot the graph. Okay, here is the graph for us. In the x-axis we have a spacing of thermocouples, which is nothing but dx, and on the y-axis I have temperature which is nothing but dT. So from this I need to calculate the slope, which is nothing but dt by dx. For a given trial I have got the value of gradient as 211.41 degrees Celsius per minute. So this is which sets up the heat flow through the material.
Okay. From the graph, dt by dx has been extracted, which is nothing but 211.41 degrees centigrade per minute. So my final aim is to find the thermal conductivity of the given metal rod. That thermal conductivity has to be extracted with the help of the Fourier's law of conduction. The Fourier's law of conduction says the heat transfer through the homogeneous material is directly proportional to the cross-sectional area and the temperature gradient. So this is what is the expression for the Fourier's law of conduction. By manipulating this, I can have the equation for the thermal conductivity, where K is the thermal conductivity, Q is the heat flow, heat absorbed by the water, A is the perpendicular area which supports the conduction, dt by dx is nothing but the gradient which we have obtained in the previous step. By substituting the values into this formula, we have got the thermal conductivity of the rod as 425.71
watt per meter degree Celsius. This value can be validated with the help of the standard values which are available in the data.